In a quiet corner of a sun-drenched meadow, a striking white horse stands, majestic in form but grotesque in condition. Its shimmering coat, once the epitome of equine purity, is now marred by a horrific hive-like wound, an ominous spectacle that almost seems to crawl with life of its own. This is no ordinary injury. Rather, it is a festering battleground, a living testament to a harrowing bee infestation that has taken over the poor creature's flesh. The honeybees, relentless in their occupation, nestle deep within the wound, their buzzing a sinister lullaby that echoes the unsettling fusion of nature's beauty and brutality. This monstrous hive is no mere accident. It is a gruesome choreography of parasite and host, where the bees exploit the vulnerability of the horse's compromised skin, their waxy combs, glistening with honey and smeared with dried blood and pus, cling stubbornly to the inflamed tissue. The wound is swollen and pulsates with a sickly rhythm, an open sore festering with infection, while the bees move in clusters, their bodies bristling with danger. This infestation is beneath the dense canopy of the tropical rainforest, where shadows twist and the air hums with life. There lurks a silent horror hidden just beneath the velvet fur of a once mighty predator, the jaguar. Today, we bear witness to an unvarnished truth of nature's rawness, an up-close encounter with a jaguar whose body tells a disturbing story. A gaping wound festers along its flank, a hideous crater swollen with dark, sickly pus and writhing with parasitic invaders. This wound is no mere scar of battle, but a grotesque wound house for a colony of bloodthirsty parasites, each one burrowing deeper into the jaguar's flesh like tiny, merciless miners decoding a map of pain. As the jaguar moves, a sickening symphony of irritation echoes the relentless crawling sensation of larvae tunneling beneath the skin, piercing blood vessels dangling from raw red flesh. The iron scent of decay clings to the air, a nauseating feast for scavengers. This horrific wound is a testament to nature's cruel circle, where survival is a day-by-day contest, and even sovereigns of the jungle crumble under the weight of microscopic enemies. These parasites, ticks, botflies, and blood-feeding larvae, represent more than just physical afflictions. They are living proof of the complicated and often brutal relationships between host and invader. Parasite infestation in jaguars begins subtly, often unnoticed, until the damage becomes undeniable. Ticks latch onto their fur and skin, embedding their gnarly mouthparts deep into the tissue and feeding off the jaguar's lifeblood, transmitting diseases in the process. Botflies, cunning stewards of infestation, deposit their larvae on warm mammalian hosts. Once hatched, the larvae burrow into the skin, creating boil-like swellings where they thrive, feeding off tissue fluids and blood. Such infestations degrade the jaguar's physical condition, weakening its ability to hunt and defend territory. In a vicious cycle, the animal becomes more susceptible to predators and less capable of healing the festering wounds that become open invitations for secondary infections. The parasites are tiny, in the shadowed depths of a dense rainforest, where the hum of life hides a darker secret. A monkey emerges with an afflicted wound that turns stomachs and arrests the gaze. This isn't just any injury. It is a grotesque hive pulsating with parasites, a testament to nature's ruthless and uncompromising game. Beneath the monkey's fur lies a churning hive of larvae and writhing insects that burrow greedily into flesh, an unholy infestation that transforms a once lively creature into a grotesque host. The skin is torn and swollen, a darkened crater festering with pus and life forms that feed, grow, and multiply unchecked, painting a vivid picture of biological horror that is as mesmerizing as it is repulsive. This infestation speaks to the complex dance of survival. Parasites rely entirely on their hosts, infiltrating tissues to siphon nutrients, laying eggs, and ensuring their next generation thrives at the expense of the monkey's health. Each tiny larva tunnels deeper, secreting enzymes that dissolve flesh. Hidden in the sun-baked scrubland, a ghostly figure lumbers through the dust. A white lion, aloof and spectral in its pale, almost surreal coat, but marked by a horrifying blemish that disturbs the natural majesty of its kind. This is no ordinary scar. It is a grotesque barnacle-like wound festering on its flank, a living nightmare of decay and infection. One might imagine barnacles clinging to a weathered shipwreck or the hull of a forgotten vessel lost at sea, but here they crawl on the skin of one of Earth's most revered beasts. The wound is an unholy colony of parasitic invaders, a macabre trophy of nature's less glamorous mechanisms. This lion, the apex predator of the plains, now carries a theater of horror on its body, a battlefield where parasites enforce their ruthless reign. These crustacean-like barnacle parasites are not just unwelcome hitchhikers. They are relentless miniature marauders that drill into the skin, feeding on vital fluids, rubbing against sensitive tissue, and turning the once proud creature's hide into a battlefield of inflammation, open sores, and festering decay. The parasite's hard, calcified shells anchor deep into the flesh, their sharp, segmented limbs creating sores that ooze infection and draw swarms of other opportunistic microorganisms seeking to exploit this carnage. Each barnacle colony is a living prison, preventing the lion from healing and perpetuating a cycle of pain and vulnerability. The sight is deeply unsettling, a mass of clammy, papery shells anchored to muscle, with a rude and writhing interior stained with the lion's blood and pus. It's a living relic of natural cruelty, showcasing the cold, indifferent brutality that governs survival in the wild. Parasite infestation is not simply an unsightly blemish. It is a complex biological war occurring on the lion's skin. Parasites such as these barnacle-like creatures belong to a broader realm of ectoporites, whose evolution has crafted extraordinary adaptations for clinging, burrowing, and extracting nutrients from their hosts, often at the host's expense. Their life cycles are intricate, involving stages that develop covertly under the skin, erupting later as fully formed invaders ready to spread and perpetuate their species. Each beneath the dappled canopy of a dense African rainforest, a haunting scene unfolds. A majestic leopard, once a symbol of untamed grace, now bears the grotesque signature of a sinister invader. Its fur shrouds a hideous cocoon wound, an unnatural growth that pulses faintly, betraying the living horror beneath the surface. This is no ordinary injury. This is a parasitic fortress, a precise and loathsome bastion crafted by the microscopic architects of decay and despair. The leopard lies motionless, or perhaps merely withdrawn, as the parasite's delicate yet relentless threads have ensnared its body in a writhing prison of decay, a biochemical siege that defies the wild's usual code of swift death or escape. This cocoon wound is not merely a wound, but a breeding ground, a living chamber where the parasite reproduces, feasts, and thrives at the cost of its host life force. Imagine hundreds, perhaps thousands, of tiny larval invaders carving out space beneath the leopard's skin, their many minuscule legs and jaws working tirelessly to consume flesh and bloodstream. The wound appears as a swollen, oozing mass, festering with a foul cocktail of necrotic tissue, and the parasite's secretions, a grotesque bloom of nature's dark machinery. The skin here is pallid and wrinkled, stretched thin over the cavernous swelling, translucent enough to reveal shadows dancing beneath. The leopard's once luminous eyes now hold a dull glaze, reflecting a battle it cannot physically fight, a macabre example of nature's brutal parasitic strategies. This phenomenon is the result of an infestation by a specialized parasite that has evolved alongside its hosts, perfecting the art of slow poison and concealment. These parasites are not mere freeloaders, but sophisticated biotic agents that use chemical signals to suppress the leopard's immune response, effectively cloaking themselves from the body's natural defenders. The parasite's cocoon acts as a protective shell, shielding its tender beneath the dense canopy of an unforgiving jungle, where shadows twist in unnatural shapes and the air thrums with the pulse of unseen life. Lies a silent terror festering beneath a leopard's golden fur. At first glance, the magnificent predator embodies power, grace, and the raw poetry of nature's hunting prowess. But upon closer inspection, a ghastly spectacle disturbs this serene image. A swollen, pulsating hive of parasitic cocoons erupts grotesquely from its flank, a living, writhing mass of filmy chitin and glistening larvae, as if some macabre artist had painted a nightmare in flesh. This hive is not just a wound, it is a grotesque nursery, a grotesque carnival of infestation where the natural order has taken a cruel and unexpected turn. This is not the stuff of fiction or folklore. It is a stark reality etched in the brutal biology of a parasitic onslaught known as parasitic cocoon infestation. In this dark dance between host and parasite, the leopard becomes an unwilling incubator, its body commandeered by an insidious life cycle that plays out with remorseless efficiency. These parasites, tiny but legion, penetrate the skin in their larval form, taking refuge in the warmth of living tissue. Here, They spin their silk like cocoons, weaving labyrinthine nests beneath the epidermis that bulge and twist into grotesqueries, ripping open the leopard's flesh and bleeding its vitality into this alien cultivation. The cocoon infestation operates as a brutal exploitation of the host's resources. As the larvae mature, they feed on the surrounding living tissue, secreting enzymes that liquefy the cells and turn the area into a nutrient-rich broth. The leopard's immune system reacts with fever and swelling, an endless battle fought beneath the surface as white blood cells try and fail to stem the tide of invaders. The wound becomes a foul gallery of necrosis and pus, shimmering with the sickly